There is a quote that has lived in my head for a long time now. Howard Thurman, a theologian, philosopher, civil rights leader, once said, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it." Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. For a very long time, I read that quote and felt it somewhere deep, but I didn't act on it. I kept the knowledge, the curiosity, the ideas. I kept all of it contained. Maybe sometimes I shared with close friends, but I know for sure that I kept them within the four walls of my own head mostly. And one day something shifted. I started asking myself a genuinely uncomfortable question. What if keeping what you know to yourself is actually a form of waste? That question is what brought me here. And in this video, I want to tell you exactly why I finally decided to stop holding back and to start this journey. Not just for me, but for every single person who might be sitting on something valuable waiting for the right time. The right time, by the way, is always now. So, a little bit about me, and I promise I will keep this brief because this video is really not about my biography. It's about something much bigger than that. I have spent a good part of my life being genuinely fascinated by people, and not in a creepy way, but in a way where you sit in a room and you find yourself more interested in why someone made a certain choice than what the choice itself was. Why do people do what they do? What drives the decisions we make, even the ones that seem to go against our own interests? These questions have always lived with me. I've always been in the creative space. I've worked in graphic design, so building things, communicating visually, telling stories through a medium. It's not so foreign to me, but when we talk about video content, YouTube, talking to a camera and sharing ideas with strangers on the internet, that was a different thing entirely. And I kept putting it off. I had reasons. Good ones. I told myself I didn't know the software, I didn't know how to edit, I wasn't sure my ideas were interesting enough, I wasn't sure anyone would care. And I ask you, does that sound familiar? Here is the thing about those reasons, and this is the part I want you to hold on to. They weren't really reasons, they were just fears wearing a very convincing costume. We live in a world that is overflowing with information. Genuinely, the amount of content available to us right now is incomprehensible, and yet somehow we still have a scarcity problem. Not a scarcity of information, but a scarcity of perspective. There are people out there, maybe you, maybe someone you know, who carry insights, experiences, and knowledge that could genuinely change how someone else sees the world. But they keep it in, they share it with their inner circle at the best, and beyond that, it just stays. I started thinking about this as a form of underutilization. Think about it purely from an economic lens for a second. If you had a resource, a valuable one, and you just sat on it, you never deployed it, you never let it produce anything, what would we call that? We will call it a waste and inefficiency. Your knowledge is a resource. Your experiences are resources. Your unique way of connecting ideas and making sense of the world, that is a resource. And I have been sitting on mine. There is a concept in psychology called the protege effect. It is the idea that when you teach something, you don't just help the person learning, you actually deepen your own understanding of it. You find the gaps, you sharpen the edges, and you do a lot of other things. And teaching is one of the most powerful tools for your own growth. And I wasn't doing any of it. That realization sat with me uncomfortably for a while. And uncomfortable realizations, if you let them have a way, they eventually become actions. So, here is what actually happened. Here is where it shifted for me. I have always believed in the idea of being a well-rounded individual, not someone who is brilliant at one thing and completely blank everywhere else, but someone who is curious across disciplines, who keeps growing, who refuses to be defined by only one lens. That belief has guided a lot of my choices. And at some point, I realized very clearly that starting this channel was just the next logical extension of that belief. I also want to be honest with you about something. I had very little technical knowledge at the beginning. The editing software I had to learn from scratch. Sound design, I watched hours of videos from creators who had walked this road. Setting up the channel, understanding how the algorithm works, thinking about thumbnails, hooks, retention, and all of it was new and of course also exciting. And here is what I discovered in that process. The discomfort of learning something new is one of the most alive feelings a human being can experience. And there is a reason why people who take on challenges, even the difficult, frustrating ones, they report higher levels of life satisfaction than when people stay in their comfort zones indefinitely. For me, it is the act itself, the creation, the showing up, and saying that I made this came from me. I think about the person sitting somewhere in the world, in a different country, in a different time zone, a different set of circumstances, who might watch something on this channel and feel that spark. Maybe it's from a book review that introduces them to an idea they never encountered, or maybe it's a video that finally explains something they have felt but never had words for, or maybe it's just a reminder that there is someone out there thinking deeply about the same questions that they have. And that possibility alone is worth showing up for. So let me bring this back to you, because I didn't make this video just to talk about myself. I want to ask you something genuinely. What are you sitting on? What knowledge, what experience, what perspective do you carry around every day that you have convinced yourself isn't worth sharing, that you have told yourself isn't interesting enough, or it isn't polished enough, or you are not just ready enough? Because here is what I have learned in this very short time I have started this journey. The bar for starting is not perfection. The bar for starting is just to start. The skills come, the confidence comes, the clarity comes, but none of it comes before you begin. So I started this channel because I believe that personal growth isn't a private affair. It is something that multiplies when it is shared. I started because I believe a fully lived life is one that reaches beyond your immediate circle, one that contributes something, however small, to the broader conversation of what it means to be human. And I started because, frankly, I got tired of waiting to feel ready, and I strongly hope I'll be able to apply this to some other aspects of my life too. And you know what they say, that readiness is a myth, momentum is real. On this channel, we are going to be exploring the fascinating, sometimes surprising, but always relevant world of human behavior and decision making. We will be doing book reviews, We'll be diving into some of the most compelling non-fiction books that are out there. And hopefully we'll be breaking down research and making it accessible. And we would also have honest conversations about why people, including ourselves, do what we do. If any part of that sounds like something you want to be a part of, I would love to have you here. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's figure this out together. My first video is already up on the channel. It is a review of The Shallows by Nicholas Carr, a book that asks some really unsettling questions about what the internet is doing to our brains. So if you haven't watched it yet, I'll leave a link right here. I think you will find this video worth your time. Thank you for being here from the beginning, and that genuinely means something. And I'll see you in the next one.